thought we'd do a little showdown since we're playing. I didn't know I'd be back in time to do this, and I actually have somewhere else I have to go pretty soon. But we thought we'd come in and say what's up to our people. What's up, all the true DFS people? Guys, these showdown slates are obviously good to get weird, but we want to try and build as logically as we can. We didn't do a showdown show this week, so we thought we would do this live one. Rody's still in the middle of his builds right now, but something your brother mentioned in the chat about the Lance Thomas as captain thing, I think that's a good idea. And I actually said in one of my big builds, I do have that. I have 100% Antonio Gibson. I don't see a way of fading him exactly. Are you finding the same thing, or do you have anything different there?
No, I'm trying to limit my Gibson exposure. Like on Monday night, I played a lot of the passing attack in the shootout.
Okay.
So I'm still going to get a decent amount of him, I think. But, like, I'm kind of siding with a little more Barkley. I know Washington's defense is really good. Most likely Giants are going to be passing. A lot of people around that. But I'm trying to flip the build a little bit to get it a little different.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, to get a little different, can't criticize it. I have 100% Gibson, and he's 75% of my captains. I just don't see a fail path here at all. So I can't do it myself. I am the biggest Saquon Barkley guy. I love Saquon, and before the injury and everything, he was my guy. He was. I just don't think I can do it today. I actually am gone the other way. I have a little tiny bit of him in my flex, but I'm going with a little bit of Booker, and I also want to play McKissick. And I think it's interesting. Like McKissick was on the field for 36% of the snaps last week. Is that right? I think that's right. And just the game flow didn't lend his way at all. It really doesn't take much at his price, obviously, to get much done. But I sort of like the idea of throwing McKissick and Gibson together, and sort of like we talked about with the backup running backs, even though he might get a little bit taken away from his name is escaping me, the other running back. What are your thoughts on McKissick or any of the cheap options?
Yeah, I actually love that. I just upped my exposure to McKissick, and I hear all these people in other channels and stuff. They're like, oh, I got to make a rule in the optimizer. No Gibson and McKissick together. I was like, that's not what you want to do on Showdown, guys. You want to play those guys together. That works out great. Definitely if they're both seeing time on the field, like you said, 36% of the snaps. McKissick's getting a bunch of dump-off passes, is getting that, and Gibson's getting a lot of the runs and maybe the touchdowns. You can get both running backs in the winning lineup. I do love that build. So
yeah, I'm with it. I think it's a good build as well. The other guy who I'm going to play quite a bit of today is Dustin Hopkins. I don't usually go crazy for kickers. I could see Washington being in control of this game and Hopkins having like 12 to 15 fantasy points. And at his price, he's cheaper than most kickers we can usually get. At 3,800, I think a double-digit score is better than we're going to get for the options around him. So I actually like Hopkins paired with the Washington defense and Gibson. That's sort of my general theme in all my builds. What do you think of that? I know you're trying to get off some Gibson to try and go to some Barkley to get a little.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind that. Actually, that kind of plays a little bit better for me with playing, say, the Washington team's getting bogged down in the red zone more. So Gibson's not getting the touchdowns. So you want to get the points out of the kicker. So I definitely think I'm getting some Hopkins. I really like that. I like that play a lot more.
Yeah. I think that also he's going to be lowish owned. This is a good question for you, Triple J, asking me how much Heineke am I playing. I'll answer that, but I want to ask you first that same question because I think we're going to be different pages here.
I'm getting a lot of Heineke. He's probably one of the higher owned guys. I'm probably going to have to cap that. I'm still building lineups actually as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to probably have to cap that because I want to go more Giants, but I'm not as much on Gibson. So if I'm not as much on Gibson, I'm probably playing. I like Brown. I like him at receiver. I like Brown a little bit and a little more and Logan Thomas together. So I built a group kind of to get the tight end and one of the receivers, and then a little bit more Heineke there too, and then maybe like JD or Gibson one off and that four-man Washington stack. So if I go more that route.
Yeah, so I'm going the other route. As you know, as I said before, I have 100% Gibson, so I am not playing as much Heineke. I have like 2 lineups that I think have Heineke in it. I'm only playing 12, 2 in the big one, and then 10 in the smaller one. But I only have him a couple times. So that's sort of where I ended on him. Where did you land as far as Shepard makes more logical sense here? I think lining up in the slot more. but I think he and Galladay, like I just think Galladay and I actually like both these guys. It's really weird. I actually like the Giants receiving core quite a bit, which is why I'm very attached to. I don't think Jones is any good, but I think we're going to see him pass the ball plenty of times today. So I think he's going to be productive. I have 85%, so I guess that's all but a couple lineups with Jones, and I am playing about 50% each of Galladay and Shepard. Where did you land on those guys? And
Yeah, Shepard, I'm getting quite a bit of. I mean, he's probably my highest owned Giants receiver. I like him. I'm trying to get some Kadarius Toney a little bit more.
Okay.
I got probably 15% of them right now out of a 50 build. So right in that still single digits, 10 lineups or so. Maybe get a little more exposure to him. I usually get off the number one guy unless I put him in captain a lot of times. Because I think if like Galladay's gonna have a boom game, you're probably gonna see him a little bit more in the captain spot. If he takes it down. So I like to put those guys in the captain a little bit, and I'm not getting any of him in captain, so I'm kind of lower my exposure on him. I am getting a little Shepard in captain. I got him set at 5. I think I'm going to bump him up to about 10%. So out of my 50 build. So
yeah, my thing is like I get the idea of playing neither of them. Darius Slayton also very firmly in play, obviously.
Oh yeah, I got yep.
But I am actually playing. I'm playing a lot of my Gibson lineups with Galladay, Shepard, and Jones in there, and that way I can do pretty easy to figure out what else I'm doing there because I did mention I like McKissick and I like the defense from Washington and I like Hopkins. So that's sort of the core of my builds basically, with a little bit of the Logan Thomas at captain because we've seen the Giants over the past couple of years give up some of the biggest game to tight ends you've ever seen in your life. It's weird to play Logan Thomas though and have so little of Heineke, especially if I'm playing him in the captain. But I still think there's a path for it where I actually think you could see like the defense and Hopkins outscore Heineke potentially, and Thomas could still have a big game if he gets 2 scores or something like that. Or even just, a bunch of catches. Like I mostly am trying to stay away from the passing game of Washington, but I like you're going the other route, which both make sense, right? We're talking about different ideas of game scripts. I think that, just my personal take is that Washington wins this game. And I think they do control the game fairly. I don't want to say easily, but I think you're going to see the Giants in the second half having to throw from being down, which sort of leads to a little bit of maybe I should play more Booker actually. Now that I think about it, it's actually not a bad point. Maybe I should actually consider that because there is a chance that if they're down like big enough, especially on a short week when they're already trying to limit Saquon, maybe they actually don't mess with him if they're down 3 scores, let's say, in the second half. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that that is a possibility, an angle I want to play. And me and you both have the same general strategy when it comes to these things. We want the game script, right? We want to make the game script make sense to us. And that's why I keep ending up with this here.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do, guys. Take a game script, kind of run with it. Like sometimes I'm on a little bit more Barkley just because he's lower owned, I think, going to be coming in. Everyone thinks Washington defense is kind of good. So I'm kind of picking that game strip where maybe Giants can score more. And there's another route you guys can go is maybe play the shootout. Like, so we seen Monday night where, Raiders were popping off a lot of plays and it was more of a shootout of a game. And, but don't forget, if you want to play the defensive side, double kicker sometimes works. Get some defenses mixed in. Guys, don't forget about those plays too. I know the upside's not there, but if it's a low-scoring game, it's only a 40-point total. Those games, usually double running backs can win like we talked about, kickers and defenses. Guys, you only need a little bit of production out. J.D. McKissick gets 1 touchdown, 5 catches, and 30 yards rushing. He's in the winning lineup, guys. So you don't need a ton of points tonight from these guys.
Absolutely. And the same as how I feel about the Washington D and Hopkins. You know what I mean? Like, give me double. I think they both have excellent chance to score double-digit fantasy points here today, and that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? Like it goes along with my theory of this game actually being more on the lower scoring end, but with Gibson doing most of the damage for Washington and then running it back with the passing game. Less so that Jones, I think, is going to have a monster day. I think he's better chance to have a monster day, maybe yards-wise. He's always got some rushing upside as well. But I think that my take is that I like Washington in this game. I do believe Washington's defense is really legit. I think they're very, very, very good. And I'm going to just bank on that. All right. Any other questions or thoughts, guys? Drop them into chat because we're not going to be here too long. Rody's got some lineups to build. I got to go do some other stuff, some life stuff, some real life stuff where I'm actually
got a hot date tonight. He's got going on.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But actually,
I'm having a drink tonight too, man. I had a rough day, so.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man. But yeah,
work was crazy. We did that show early. It just almost worked out to be a bad time. So it's just crazy today.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, we do appreciate you tuning in, and again, we'll give you a few more minutes to drop in any other questions or thoughts. I know sometimes, like I'm just getting the YouTube alert right now that we're going live, so sometimes it takes people a minute. But I did tell people in chat, so tell us who you like at your captains. Tell us what you guys are doing. Maybe if there's a name we didn't mention or somebody you're captaining that maybe we're just playing. Maybe you're playing Daniel Jones at captain. Maybe you're playing Shepard at captain. Maybe you're playing a little bit of Slayton at captain, which I think is actually an interesting way to go because I think he'll be the lowest owned of those guys as a captain for sure, and definitely has the upside and could break it with literally 2 plays.
Yeah, Slayton's got that big bomb potential. I like that play a little bit.
Shouldn't these Giants be better? I'm just looking at Daniel Jones. This is a good receiving core. It's a pretty. If Ingram was around, this is a really good receiving core.
Yeah.
A couple questions coming in. I'm not getting onto Sims at all. I prefer the other route with the guy who was on the field a lot more. So I'm just going to take the route with McKissick instead of Sims. But I don't mind if you want to get weird and play Sims. I just don't think you're getting a huge you're going to get an ownership discount. I don't know how many times they're going to actually hand him the ball. And I think McKissick will be the main one if they ever are on third down and passing downs or whatever that will get the work. Where do you stand on Sims?
I think I X'd him out of my pool.
I
make big guys in these showdowns. I make big stands. I take guys out of the pool. I'm on more De'Ami Brown tonight, so I'm not going to play Sims. I'm either all in on Brown, Terry McLaurin. Those guys are making stands on. I usually don't get too crazy. I X guys out all the time. So
yeah, it makes perfect sense.
So.
So there's an interesting question about Rudolph. I actually think that you can fit him into lineups. The problem is, one, I think you're going to need to be blocking that pass rush. 2, Hopkins outscores Rudolph most of the time here and should have slightly less ownership. I don't know. It's probably pretty close between the 2 of them. No, actually, Rudolph. Wow, I didn't realize that there was going to be that overlooked. Yeah, I think Rudolph is viable. I just didn't find him in much of my build. I think I've got 1 build with him out of 12, but it's probably going to be what the field does as well. So I can say go ahead and get a little bit of Rudolph if you want to. Where do you stand on Rudolph? I didn't hear you mention him before.
Yeah, I didn't mention him. I'm getting to some of them. I have him in a little bit of lineups. I'll probably have him in about 5%, it looks like. So not too crazy, but I'm not building a lot of lineups, So
yeah. No, I'm same here. And I've got him in 1 of 12. So that's where I stay. I'm very high on Hopkins, the Washington defense, Thomas, Gibson, Jones, and then the passing game for New York, but not so high on Rudolph. But I could see Rudolph getting in the end zone. That's definitely on the table.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we drop out of here? Before one of us wins $1 million and we just it's going to be one of those nights for me where I'm not even looking at my phone and I'm going to look down and go, whoa. That's what I'm hoping.
No, I'm hoping to I'm pretty tired. I haven't got a lot of sleep the last couple of nights. It's been rough. So I'm hoping to pass out and wake up to the notification for the $1 million.
There you go. That would be sweet. I had it happen once with not $1 million, but I won the 6 figures and I won the DraftKings Live final seat in the same night. And I had given up basically on the night. And I don't know what happened in the Angels game late, but I had to Dylan. Somehow I ended up with Dylan Bundy in a lineup with Mike Trout on the other side when Bundy was pitching for the Orioles. Bundy, I think, had 16 Ks that night, gave up 2 hits, both to Trout. One was a home run, and the other time he stole 2 bases. So it was pretty much I woke up to 135,000 basically, and I was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?"
Yeah,
I was like,
great.
"Damn it, a losing night," But that was one. And people were like, "How could you not know?" Because I had an RG show the next morning, and everybody's like, "How the hell did you not know about this? How could you not?" I was like, "I do sweat my lineups, but sometimes, you basically feel dead. I had other lineups out there. It wasn't like the only entry I had. It was like I had like 30 lineups that were a pretty big size. So all the rest of them dudded. So I just kind of gave up. And sometimes you wake up to it. So maybe tonight is that night for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Yeah. Wake up in the bath of money's like Carden says. All right. Good luck to everybody out there. Hope you crush it. Rody, thanks again for jumping in here. And guys, we will see you guys shortly. Sure that we'll be, I'll talk with Sheets in the morning. I mean, we've got one. And then we were obviously me and Rody and Sheets, I think all are going to be doing the Sunday live show. So that should be a lot of fun. Good luck to everybody. For True DFS, I'm Bobby. We are